Hello and welcome to Memoirs of Successful Women. I'm Annie Gibbins, founder and CEO of Women's Biz Global, and I invite you to kick off your heels, get comfortable, and be ready to receive the golden nuggets that are shared as you listen in to candid conversations I have with fascinating women from around the globe. Business leaders, entrepreneurs, humanitarians, athletes, and a whole lot of regular people. They will keep you riveted as they let their guard down and open up on aspects of their business and life journey, how they measure success and what they have learned along the way. My intent is that our conversations will inspire you to embrace opportunities and possibilities beyond the limits of your imagination, because I know that this is where we reclaim our power. I want you to reclaim your power, your strength and vulnerability, to stand in your truth and propel yourself towards the life that you dream to live. Hello and welcome to Women's Biz Podcast, Memoirs of Successful Women. I would love you to get ready to be inspired by an incredible force of positive change today. I am so thrilled to introduce you to Cathy Derksen, who is a visionary founder of Inspired Tenacity Global Solutions. She is a disruptor and a catalyst on a mission to transform lives of women in her community and around the world. Like myself, I absolutely love her unwavering determination to empower women and rediscover, actually, their brilliance, their voices, and step into new possibilities. She's not only an international speaker and an 11 times number one best-selling author. Her stories really ignite fire within readers. They seriously do. They inspire them to take leaps of faith towards their biggest goals, and that's what I absolutely love celebrating. Welcome to the podcast, Cathy.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to have our chat.
I'm super excited to have you on my show, and I'd love to dive into a question to you, Cathy. In midlife, many people hesitate to step into new possibilities. It's kind of like, is it too late? I don't know. I've just settled, right? So can you share a pivotal moment that you decided to embrace change, and how did it transform your life as an example for how it could transform others?
Yes. No, that is a large question, and I could take it in so many different directions. And so far, I have done two major career changes. So about 12 years ago was my first one. At that time, I was in a toxic marriage, working in a toxic work environment, and just knowing, it just hit me that this is not okay. I cannot keep going like this. Life is too short. So that was my first big change. I left the marriage. I left that whole career behind. And at that time, I knew I really wanted to focus on helping women, and just kind of started digging into how is it that I can help women change their lives, like to really have an impact, not just to do a little bit of help here and there, but to really have an impact, to change their life. And at that time, I thought I would go into financial planning. I thought, well, money is an area where a lot of women could use some support. And so I went into financial planning, did all the certifications, 10 years of working in the investment companies and big banks. And again, really realized I'm helping people, but not having a life-changing impact on their future. And that's when, again, it hit me. I thought, okay, I need to refocus on how is it that I do this? How is it, what are the gifts that I can bring that are different than what everybody else is doing that will actually help impact women's lives in a big way? And that's when I, again, left that career behind and started Inspired Tenacity. And that has definitely been a journey of ups and downs and adventures and learning. But the main focus of my work right now, though, is on midlife women and really helping to spark that courage to just get doing those things that excite us. Because you're right, I think so many are just stuck. And I think it impacts women more than men And I think because many of us were mothers for decades, we were often working jobs that we took just because they fit our family schedule, not necessarily something we were really, really passionate about. So we get into our, late 40s, 50s, into our 60s, and just realize that, what you're spending your life doing is not something that excites you. And like you're saying that, this feeling of, well, I'm too old to learn something new. How am I going to start over? And what will all my friends and family think if I suddenly just do something completely different? And that is my main focus, to give women that support, to know you've got a whole community here in the world. Let's do this together.
It's such a better way of doing it together. And what a huge journey you had. But actually, as a business coach myself, I tell you what, your journey is replicated all around the world. Those things that you discovered, that you were in a career, I know, for like 25 years before you suddenly went, you know what, this isn't doing it for me. Now, you did leave your husband and everything else as well. So you did a dramatic move. A lot was going on there that we won't have time to unpack today. It doesn't have to be that dramatic, but it is true. How many of us have actually just went, look, I'll take this part-time job because it works for the family. And it might not even spark any joy for you. It's just something you do, or be in relationships, or have friends, or certain things because you've just acquired them due to a stage of life. And it is amazing that it can sometimes take a decade or 2 or 3 to suddenly go, you know what, I don't even know how I got here. I'm not even loving it. In fact, I look back and I might never have loved it, or I certainly haven't for a long time. And I think it's such a great conversation to have, that you can actually make that change anytime. I'm always saying your empowered future starts now. You can do a change now that's going to affect the rest of your life. It doesn't matter where you were. It can be that simple. I love the word that you use, courage, though. It requires courage and real bravery, because our heads, you suddenly, once you start exploring it, you feel like your handbrakes go on and go, oh my gosh, what am I thinking? Am I crazy? Maybe everyone will be right that, oh, that won't happen, or you're too old, but you're definitely not. And I love what you're doing. Now, your journey, though, and I think you reference this, it's going to have ups and downs. You've gone from something extremely settled, something that you are the expert in, you could do it in your sleep, to suddenly setting up your own business and something like women's empowerment. Like, it's just so wafty, isn't it? You're going to need a community. You're going to have to build a community in your business. That's really crucial for you being able to move ahead on that journey. So how have you nurtured your community? How have you actually built that? And then how do you not only nurture it, you grow it, you support your community of women's empowerment?
Yes. I think that building community is definitely what has helped me to continue and to move into brand new areas where I never would have seen myself before. And I've really found that working on compilation books, collaboration books, anthologies, whatever word we choose to describe them as, so multi-author book projects where you're working with a team on a theme, creating something new, I have found that has been the best way for me to build community, because you're often working with people from all over the world. You're working on a project that you're all inspired and excited about. You're inviting each other onto podcasts and other kinds of interviews, and just connecting with those communities of all those people. Again, you imagine most of those books have either 20 to 40 or more people in them. Now you're connecting with the communities of each one of those people who's in that book with you. So to me, that's been a huge part of how I've been building my community. And as you've mentioned, so far I've been in 11 books that are published, and I've got about 6 more on the go right now. So I do love building my community through books. And I think another way that I do it, LinkedIn is my favorite social media. And I find the conversations there are often, I think they're real, more real than, say, on Facebook and things where it seems like people are just kind of putting on a front. And I really love connecting with new people. So connecting with people through people, and just really getting into conversations, jumping on chats together. And yeah, to me, that's really just sort of blossomed. And I just have been loving building my community.
So many books on the go. I love that. It's true though, because you're then sharing that journey with so many other people. You get to know them so much better. All of their insecurities will raise to the surface because they're doing something that's out of their comfort zone. So while you're facilitating that, you're also getting deep and personal with all of those people. So it's exciting because they're then going to be a published author and hopefully an international bestseller. And then you're also, raising all of their, oh my gosh, am I worthy of being here? Is my story good enough? Oh, it's just such an incredible way to actually build authentic communities. Now, your work, therefore, is all about helping others share their stories and having that wisdom to inspire others. I so love it. Do you have a story that you'd be able to share from your own life that's had a real profound impact on your journey of change?
Oh, well, I guess besides the stories of leaving marriages, changing careers, all those kind of fun things, one of the really pivotal moments, I think, that really got the ball rolling for me was while I was still in my marriage, and we've got 2 kids that were young teenagers at the time, and we were involved in a fatal car accident. And luckily, my family, we were fine physically. A lot of trauma, as you can imagine, but one of the other drivers did not survive the accident. And it really became a shift in my life, a shift in just that I'm sure that is really what sparked me to recognize what a toxic life I was living, and to give me that real courage and tenacity to get out of it. Because really, it was not easy to go through any of those changes. So it really did require a set determination. And even while I was going through that whole thing of, leaving the marriage, starting all over brand new as a single mom with 2 teenagers, can you just imagine what that was really like, starting a new career at the same time? And at many points, it was just to keep moving. And I actually had a little phrase I used to say to myself, and it was chin up, keep moving. And sometimes that's really all I had to hang on to, was just that chin up, keep moving, just go.
So hard. Other people, it's like that Finding Nemo movie, just keep swimming, swimming.
Yes, that came
I've
later.
Other people go, I say that little saying, it is like that. It's just like one little thing. It shows that you're just seriously treading in quicksand. It's like, I don't have time. I don't have the luxury. I don't have the energy to be able to do anything else, because I have to just focus on these young ones, but being able to put food on the table, feeling safe and secure. There's just so much happening. And I thank you for sharing that story. What a huge time. That's massive.
Yes.
And no wonder it really rocked you to the core. But in these times of incredible confrontation, it makes you dig deep. It makes you actually be so uncomfortable that you need to make some changes. And obviously they were hugely significant, but hugely powerful and positive ones for you, for sure. So through all of these connections that you've made, and you mentioned before that they're global, which is so fantastic, how do you then leverage your global interconnectedness to further your goals in what you're trying to do, to continue to reach a broader audience? How do you approach that?
Well, definitely through creating more and more book projects, bringing more people in, spreading out from the community that each of my current contacts are in. And one of the ways that I'm looking at really blowing it out of the water is, ideally, I would love to start traveling to actually meet the people that are in my books, and doing different book events or other kinds of events where we can actually meet each other in person, connect with a bigger community, and even step into speaking events and that sort of thing at these locations with these other people. And so it will kind of become my way of traveling the world and meeting people I already knew.
That is so cool, isn't it? Just to imagine that. I know I've got people all around the world, and I've just come off a call this morning, and we're planning a trip to Africa next year to go and support them. And I was the same excitement of, oh my gosh, I feel like I know you. We've connected and we've done such deep things with each other, but we've actually never hugged. I haven't seen your area, your favorite coffee shop, your whatever, it just makes it so different. And it's so hard when you work in a global market that most of it is wonderful, brings more opportunity, but also it's kind of like, oh, well, I'll never be near everyone, but you can certainly plan out opportunities to connect. And I think that is just, it's going to take you, it takes you to those lifelong friendships as well, I think. That's exciting. I can't wait to hear where you decide to go.
I've got to come to Australia.
Come to Australia. We will look after you. We're very, very friendly. Oh my goodness. Now you're all about encouraging others to dream big, and absolutely, why shouldn't you just go for the pinnacle, but it's harder than we think for most. So what advice do you give some of our listeners now? They're sitting there going, I know I'm uncomfortable. I know I'm that person she's talking about, in your own way. You're sitting there going, why am I in this relationship? Why am I in this job? Why am I living life? Why do I spend the day that I have this way, right? There's so many things that start surfacing in a conversation like that. What advice would you give someone who may be excited but hesitant to pursue their biggest dreams due to fear or self-doubt?
Well, got a couple of things. One, I want to give you a quick little quote that it has become one of the guiding posts in my life. And it goes, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive, and go do that. Because what the world needs is more people to come alive. And so when you look at it that way, that it's almost our responsibility in our life to come alive, to actually bring forth that positive energy that, I'm a firm believer that, energy around the world plays off of each other, right? And the more positive we bring, hopefully we can now start overriding some of this negative stuff that's going on in too many places. So really becoming that source of positive energy and putting it out to others is a key thing for me. So really, if you're feeling stuck and you're not sure what to do, for me, reflecting back on that message, that it's up to me to figure out what excites me and brings me to life, and go do it. And then the other part of that, I always remind women that your immediate family and friends are probably not the people who are going to encourage you to step out into something completely new. If anything, in most cases, they're trying to protect you, but they will often, oh, this is just a phase you're going through. You'll get over it. Just settle down, go back to your usual. So really, I encourage women to step out into that bigger community, whether it's through Zoom into a global community, or whether it's just locally, but among people who understand what you're trying to do, who see that bigger dream and know you can do it. And so by connecting with those people and getting their support and encouragement, you're much more likely to be successful. So that is a huge thing that I just, your friends and family are lovely, but do not depend on them for that encouragement and support for making big changes.
That is just so true, and such a brilliant tip. So listeners, take this one to heart. Take this seriously, really think about it. Exactly, because they do want to protect you. Ultimately, it's not as if they're bad. They just don't want you to get hurt. They don't want you to fail. They might have seen you in tears many times before and go, oh gosh, we don't want to do that again. Or they also don't see life through your lens, right? They don't even know what you're wanting. They might not have had that experience. They might not relate to it. So they're just trying to keep you nested, right? And it took me a very long time to realize this as well. So I am so thankful that you shared this as a big tip, because I used to get told, Annie, you're crazy. You're such a dreamer. Why aren't you comfortable? Why aren't you satisfied?
You're like, yes.
Why aren't you contented? As if it was a really bad thing. And I'm like, I am content. I am satisfied. But isn't there more? And they go, no, there's not. And I'm like, wow. I was just like, that's so sad. And then it wasn't until I reached out and started doing the things that we're talking about today, I suddenly found my tribe of going, oh my gosh, all of these people are like me, like in a way that believe in it, girl. I got your back, sister. You go for your, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like I'm not actually, I was just in the wrong pond, or I was asking the wrong people.
Yes.
And it's absolutely, don't start thinking, oh, my family aren't there for me. They are. They're there to go, I want to protect you like a little baby. I don't want you to have any harm whatsoever. Whereas these other people will go, yeah, they'll go, if you're not failing regularly, if you're not pushing yourself, you're not growing. And they'll also see things from different perspectives. That is golden advice. I absolutely love that. Now, you've shared some of your huge challenges and learnings. Could you elaborate on how these experiences have shaped the approach that you now go to empower women to have positive impact? You're taking your lived experience, those hardships that you've had, your huge growth transitions, if you like. It's got to have affected the way you actually get up every day and approach the world the way you do through Inspired Tenacity.
Oh, yes, definitely. And when I first left my corporate job and set out on my own to do my business, I had kind of a model in my mind of kind of a coaching, life coaching, money coaching kind of idea. And part of that was because that's what I could see. I could see people doing that coaching new business. And it really wasn't until I was into the first year and probably partly into the second year of my business, where I was really following my gut, listening to my intuition, really focusing in on what is my special thing I'm bringing here. And that's when I really got focusing on the books and really realized that this is how I can really impact and change women's lives. And 5 years ago, if you'd asked me if I was going to get into the publishing industry and I was going to be supporting other people getting into books and becoming published authors, I would have laughed at you, because there was not even an inkling that was the direction I was going. So it really has been in that part of really fine-tuning and trusting my gut as it's leading me in different directions, that this was what I was meant to be doing. And now here I am. It's been about 1.5 years that I've been doing this pretty much full-time as my focus. And I look back at the ripple effect of what I've created really in the work that I'm doing. And now there's been so many women that have been in my projects from all over the world who have now built the confidence to launch brand new businesses that they were just puttering with before, to now publish their own solo book, which again, they'd been working on for years and had never had that confidence to step into. Even some of the women that I work with have stepped into running their own retreats internationally and things like that, that are, obviously, I'm not taking full credit for these things that have happened, but it's been those sparks of seeing what other people are doing and being part of that movement of women creating bigger things and stepping into them. Because that's another thing that I think the books really help with, is that idea that until we've seen something, we don't see ourselves doing it. We don't see ourselves in that little video of that happening until we really can see it in our mind. And I find with the books, as we read and absorb each other's stories and we see those examples of what other women are doing and changing and creating and inspiring, I really believe that it helps each of us then to build our own confidence. And hey, if she can do this, I can do this. If they can create that massive change in what they're just around the world and what they're doing, hey, I can at least help out and chip in. And the next thing you know, you've created a whole new thing.
Absolutely. Every time, I'm a hiker, so every time you get to a summit, you go, oh, wow, I thought that was it. Then you pause, you look and go, oh, now there's more. But it seems more achievable because you suddenly look back and go, well, I didn't think I'd do this, so maybe I can do that next leg. I so love that. What a journey you've had then, going from, I think you started medical genetics was your primary role.
Yes,
And then you
25 years.
Yes. And then you've gone to financial planning, and now here you are in publishing. So I think, those mainly ladies listening in, look at this, you can talk about reinvention. I absolutely love this. And I'm seeing also that you will have brought a lot of the tools. A lot of people think, oh, well, then I have to start from scratch again. Whereas there's so many generic skills, expertise, elements of the roles that you've had that you would have taken into this new world of publishing. And so it's definitely sparked joy on the joy tick list for you. It's given you the platform or the opportunity to do the other things. And I think that's what it is. It's about saying, well, where are you going to settle yourself to be able to then be able to have those opportunities? And for you, it sounds like it's through publishing, through the books, through the anthologies, and the connections you're making there, because you're tapping straight into those women that then the other aspects are then getting realized, the influences such as business development, finance, and things like that. And so I love you found your authentic space to be able to do that. What other elements do you think, for those people go, I don't want to throw out everything I've done. I've worked very hard to get here. So although I want to move into a happier place for me, I don't want to lose everything. I think that's a common problem. Would you be comfortable to speak to that? Well, what did you, even though you weren't so happy where you were, you would have actually brought over a whole lot of skills and expertise that you now use day to day, that you can still look back and go, I'm thankful that I had that 20 years plus in a
Oh, definitely. But I think a big part of what I've brought with me over the years, one factor is definitely my love of learning, my love of being curious and stepping into new things and figuring out, how do I do this? How can I approach this differently? Even back when I was doing my role in medical genetics, which a lot of that was working in hospital labs and analyzing chromosomes and fun things like that. But even then, just that love of learning what was new, what's the new stuff coming up, what more can I understand about this? I was involved in public education programs, developing new things to help people understand all these fun things. And of course, that was back when Dolly the sheep was around with the cloned sheep and the Human Genome Project. And there was a lot of big things going on. So the learning, the helping others learn, the supporting people in that environment. And I think just that always having that underlying need to be of support for somebody else, whether it was as the messenger, whether it was as the teacher, all of those kind of things, I think was a huge part for me. And to your point about that probably is a huge thing that does hold a lot of women back, that they don't want to just leave behind their tools and the things that they've learned before. And I think that is a key thing to really think about. Okay, what are the real base core parts of those skills that you're bringing with you? And things around empathy, listening, coordinating, learning, so many of those core skills that you did learn back then are the things that you will bring forward into the next piece of what you're doing. And really just trusting in yourself that you can learn and you can figure it out, and you can build community, which helps to do all of those things.
Exactly. Because you can't be your own island. You can't go and do this massive leap and then expect it all to suddenly come. There's going to be a lot of learning. And it helps when you do that with others, that you connect with a broader church, if you like. And that's now in a global environment for most of us. And it makes it exciting. It's really amazing. You learn so much off the collective. I find I'm learning things off other people every day, just from their different perspectives, or seeing something unravel in a different, in their unique way. It might be because of where they live in the world, might be their cultural influence, it might be another aspect of diversity. It's so fascinating to see us all grow in different ways. Such a joy having you on my show today, Cathy. How are people going to connect with you then? You've got your website, inspiredtenacity.com. What are they going to find when they go there? What is the best way to get involved? And also, what books do you have coming up that they might be interested in?
Yes, yes. So yes, my website's got tabs for all sorts of things. It's got a tab there for gifts. So there's a opportunity to book a time with me. We'll have a half-hour chat about what your goals are as an author and getting involved in books. There's also some free PDF versions of my previous books that you can download those. So, and my website has information about my past books and links to all of the Amazon pages, as well as my current book projects that I'm looking for people to jump into. So that's exciting. And right now I've got a few different projects, as I mentioned. Because of my background in science and tech, I always like to create a series of books for women that work in STEM. And so one of my books is called The Evolution of Leadership in STEM, Women Catalyzing Change. So that's for, and again, these are all global projects, women from all over the world. Another one is focused on women transforming leadership in business and community, which I think is a huge thing because women are approaching things differently. We're focusing more on how do we create a win-win-win-win-win, not the win-lose or the, I'm the big boss, you're the little guy, but more of that collaboration, supporting each other, mentoring. So leadership has become a huge focus. One of my other ones is called Ripple Effect of Impact, which so many of us as entrepreneurs, what we're trying to accomplish is impacting people, politics, environment. Everybody's coming at it from a different angle, but creating impact is such a huge thing. And so that's that focus of that book is really looking at that. So what is the ripple effect that you're creating with the impact that you're having? I love that one. And going forward, I've got a few other projects on grief, one focused on widows. I'm starting to work with groups of people that have podcasts and creating books focused around their community. So lots of different ideas, lots of different options. I believe that the books are such an amazing way to get people started, whether they want to go on and do their own solo book or just build their community. I love it. And I'm always open to new ideas.
I love that. And it's such a stepping stone. I think coming in, if this interests you, definitely jump onto inspiredtenacity.com. Check out what opportunities there are. Definitely book in for that free conversation with Cathy so you can explore where you're at. Obviously, we're all going to have different areas that we are passionate about that you could become part of an anthology, or you might even be able to create, a whole new one based on, your needs or desires. But it's such a great way of, having a bite-sized entry into that whole world of authorship, because once you've done this stepping stone, write a chapter of a book, you can then suddenly go, oh my gosh, I've suddenly got to that next level. I could even do my own. And having your own authority book, particularly if you're in business, of something that you are the expert in, is just so powerful, as well as obviously those who just want to write that novel that they've always been thinking about for sometimes many, many, many years. Or you might have even sketched out an outlet. I know we often, once you start tapping in, suddenly all the paper comes out going, well, yeah, it's not a new idea. So I encourage you to jump onto that, everyone. Thank you so much for being on Memoirs of Successful Women today, Cathy. It's been a really fantastic conversation.
Thank you, Annie. I'll come back anytime.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Memoirs of Successful Women. I'm Annie Gibbins, founder and CEO of Women's Biz Global. And if you would like to fast track your future success, hop on over to womensbizglobal.com. Find out about all things women's biz, and most importantly, take the opportunity to have a free trial of Women's Biz Tribe. I look forward to seeing you online very soon. Until next episode, bye for now.